Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back again today with another fantasy football mock draft. Today, based off of a subscriber request, we are doing a 10-team standard draft at pick 4. We're doing it on Sleeper app, so type in Google sleeper.app, that's how you get here, or you go on your app store on your phone, type in Sleeper, and that's how you get here. So we're doing a 10-team standard mock draft from the 4th pick. Like I said, the roster settings are 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a tight end, flex, kicker, defense, and 6 bench spots. And before I get into the draft, I'd like to ask you guys, please click the subscribe button down below. It would mean a lot, and leave a comment about if you want me to do your draft, where you're picking at, and your kind of setting, so I can help you with your draft. So let's start the draft. So CMC went, followed by Zeke, Saquon, Barkley. So now it's our pick. And since it's standard, obviously a guy like Alvin Kamara isn't as good because he's obviously gets a lot of targets each game, not as many rushing attempts as a guy like David Johnson, but he still obviously brings the value because he's going to be scoring touchdowns, still going to run the ball a lot, still going to get a bunch of yards receiving and rushing, and pretty much, even though it is still standard, I'd still go Alvin Kamara here, even though even though it's a standard league, but you don't really have to take that too much into account because he's probably going to finish as a top 5 running back unless he's injured, but otherwise he's pretty much locked and loaded to be a good pick here at the 4th pick. So after we went Alvin Kamara, D-Hop went, followed by Melvin Gordon, David Johnson, Devontae Adams, Le'Veon Bell, James Conner, Joe Mixon, Julio, Michael Thomas, Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook, Todd Gurley. So notice how only 4 receivers went. Typically in a PPR draft, you're going to see like a lot more receivers being picked here because due to the fact that in PPR you get more, obviously 1 point per reception, so that makes receivers more valuable. And in these kind of drafts, that running backs are more valuable in a standard league, obviously. So I don't know if I'd even need to explain that to you, but if you didn't know that, that's what it means. Pretty much. Also, Melvin Gordon was picked at the 1-6. I don't know what's gonna happen to him. I think he's gonna end up signing, but right now, if you had to draft in July, right now I'm recording the video on July 18th. You're seeing this on Friday, July 19th. I would kind of stay away from Melvin Gordon due to not knowing what's gonna happen. Another pick I would not pick here. I don't like Dalvin Cook due to his injury, being only playing like 14 or 15 games the past 2 years. Obviously, total that's not very ideal. And Todd Gurley's knee arthritis does not make me too happy. So it's our pick, and I think since Travis Kelce fell to us in the 4th pick, now it's not PPR, and he obviously catches a ton of passes, which is a bonus, but he also scores touchdowns and gets a bunch of receiving yards each week. And he's also going to end up probably being the best tight end for your team week in and week out, the best tight end in the league week in and week out. And in a 10-team league, obviously, getting the best tight end that's going to give you an edge over others is better. Now, it's not as good in standard because it kind of makes people similar, and it's all about the touchdown, really, in standard. But he always gives you the floor of getting like 50 or 60 yards each game. So that's why I like him. If I didn't go him, I probably would have went Damian Williams here, but I do want to get the best tight end in the game here as Travis Kelce. So after we went Travis Kelce, Leonard Fournette comes out the board, followed by Odell Beckham, Mike Evans, Damian Williams, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Derrick Henry. So it's our pick. So we need to go running back here since it is obviously it's a non-PPR, so the receivers aren't as important, and there's going to be more receivers later because only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 receivers have been taken. So likely we could even get a wide receiver 1 potentially here, or the guy, or like a wide receiver 2, fringe wide receiver 1 at the back of the 4th round. So we're going to go with a running back here that I think has a lot of value in standard because he's not catching too many passes. He's going to be running in touchdowns, running the yards, running a train on your opponents. That's Marlon Mack. Obviously, he's on a high-powered Colts offense. Not one of the best offenses in the league, obviously, but still a great team led by Andrew Luck. And I think that a lot of people worry about Naheem Hines, obviously, but in a standard league, the pass catching doesn't really matter as much. So the fact that Marlon Mack isn't much of a pass catcher, a guy who's only going to get a few targets every game, and may not even reel those in, doesn't really matter as much because you're not getting a point for that or even half of a point for that. So that's why we're going to go with Marlon Mack here. After we went Marlon Mack, quarterback Patrick Mahomes was selected, followed by Antonio Brown, T.Y. Hilton, Devonta Freeman, Aaron Jones, Keenan Allen, Josh Jacobs, Kerryon Johnson, A.J. Green, Stefon Diggs, Zach Ertz, Amari Cooper. Normally in these drafts, you're going to be seeing all four of the big tight ends go in the first four, or all three of the big tight ends, sorry, go in the first 4 rounds, or even the first 3 rounds. But since it's standard, obviously the value of tight ends isn't as important. But I still think having the best one on your team at the 2.7, the seventh pick in the second round, is pretty good. The first quarterback did come off the board in Patrick Mahomes in the third round, which is pretty good value there. Normally, you're going to see him go in the first 2 rounds. Now, in your at-home league, that's probably possible. Normally, you can see Patrick Mahomes in these kind of drafts going like the third, fourth, or fifth round. But in your at-home league, obviously, you're going to be seeing the quarterbacks come off the board earlier. So now it's our pick. And we're going to get our first receiver here. And we're going to get a receiver that I like. Now, obviously, Adam Thielen is better in PPR due to the fact that he's catching a shit ton of passes from Kirk Cousins, but he still has touchdown upside, could score a touchdown, and he also has yard upside. He catches the ball a lot, which means he's going to be getting a lot of yards. And he did great at the beginning of last year. Didn't have that strong of a finish towards the end of the year, as you can see here. He was pretty much a beast at the beginning, and then the end told a completely different story. But I think he'll get back into the swing of things this year and have a great start and finish to the year, as long as the Vikings can stay healthy and be pretty good. Let's go with Adam Thielen here. After we go to Adam Thielen, David Montgomery comes off the board, followed by Tyreek Hill, George Kittle, Philip Lindsay, Julian Edelman. So now we have 2 running backs, 1 tight end, and 1 wide receiver. And George Kittle fell to the 5th round, but pretty much the 4th round because he could have picked Kittle and then picked Mark Ingram in the 5th round. But what a lot of people do is they wait till the round later to pick the tight end, so it looks like they got better value. That's what a lot of people tend to do in drafts. So it is our pick, and we are going to probably be going running back here because I know that the receivers that come back here will be better than the running backs. And since it's not a PPR, the running backs obviously have more value. So we're going to go with another guy who I think has a lot of upside. Now, Chris Carson is a guy who's not going to be catching many passes, and a lot of people are worried about, Nick, Rashad Penny's going to take his job. Oh, no, now he's only going to get 40% of the touches, not 50. Oh, no. Yeah, don't fucking worry about that. Rashad Penny may end up getting the job. I could see that definitely happening. But I also can see Chris Carson holding the job. And right now, it is the 18th of July. So by the time you're actually drafting in August, you should know who's going to be the number one on the team. So we're going to go Chris Carson here. And that pick could change to Kenyon Drake, obviously, if it was different. But as of right now, I'm all in on Chris Carson over a guy like Sony Michel, who has injury problems, and even though while he was on the field, he was pretty consistent, but I don't really know if he can stay healthy. And Chris Carson, as you can see, seemed to stay pretty healthy throughout the season. So we're going to go Chris Carson. After we went Chris Carson, Sony Michel came off the board, followed by Brandon Cooks, Tyler Lockett, Kenyon Drake, Andrew Luck, Aaron Rodgers, Kenny Galladay, Calvin Ridley, Robert Woods, Lamar Miller, Tevin Coleman, Darius Geis, and now it is our pick. So we are going to be going receiver here, and there are some solid receivers still left. So what I noticed in 10-team leagues is the receivers, since the league is so small, that there's going to be so much receiver value towards the back of the draft that it's almost worth not picking one super early, like in the first 2 rounds. Unless it's PPR, obviously, then I would more consider doing it. But in like a 10-team non-PPR draft, standard draft, it seems to be perfectly fine getting a guy back here who could be probably a wide receiver too, could finish as a wide receiver too at the end of the season. And if you just load up on guys in the back of the draft, you're always going to find someone to play in your flex or as your wide receiver too. So we are going to go with the upside of. We're not going to go Cooper Kupp now. A lot of people like Cooper Kupp due to the fact that he was obviously great at the beginning of last year. Like if you look at the numbers here, he tore his ACL. Obviously, we know that, but he played pretty good. 12 points, 6 points, 12, 28, 15, 14, 3 tore his ACL. But you don't want that because of the ACL injury so late in the season. I don't know if he's going to recover for week 1. That is something I would worry about. So I'd rather stray away from injury. So we're going to go with a guy like Chris Godwin here, not injured. The number 2 on a team that's going to be passing the ball heavily. Now, a lot of people will be like, oh, Chris Godwin wasn't that good last year. Yeah, I'm aware. Because you all know who was there? Adam Humphries, who was stealing all of his shit. But you all know what? Adam Humphries got shipped off to Tennessee to play with the other draft pick from, I believe, 2014, Marcus Mariota. But you don't want that. Maybe, actually, they might be I don't know what year they got fucking drafted. I'm a goddamn idiot. But we're going to go with Chris Godwin here. The upside of Chris Godwin being on such a team that likes throwing the ball so much. So after we went Chris Godwin, Cooper Kupp went, followed by O.J. Howard, Deshaun Watson, Mike Williams, Matty Ice, Jarvis Landry. So currently, we obviously have our tight ends. We don't have to worry about how many tight ends have been picked, but we don't have a quarterback. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them have run off the board. So half the teams in our league currently have a quarterback. And our target has been taken right off the board. Matt Ryan. He's the guy I typically target in the if in like the 6th or 7th round. He's the guy I'm looking for. So since we didn't get him, I think we can wait till the 8th round and hopefully get a guy like Drew Brees or Kyler Murray to start instead of that. And it's also easier in these kind of leagues that are 10 team to stream. So if you pick a guy like Kyler Murray and he absolutely sucks some cock, you can just go on the waiver wire and pick up a good guy to start every single week. So with that being said, we're going running bike here. And since we already have Rashad Penny, or not Rashad Penny, we already have Chris Carson. I don't think it's worth it to get both of them. So back to back here. So we are going to be going with the guy that I also like a lot, and that's Darrell Henderson. Now, like I said, Todd Gurley is injury prone, right? He has the left knee injury. Will he be healthy to start the season? Will he be able to stay healthy throughout the season? These are all things you got to think about. So, if he is healthy, or if he's not healthy, Darrell Henderson will be a top 12 running back in fantasy, top 10 running back in fantasy. You saw it last year with C.J. Anderson being thrown into the lineup of the Rams and putting up absolutely godlike numbers. So anyone could run behind the Rams O-line and in the McVay system. So, with that being said, Darrell Henderson in the 7th round is a good pick because if Todd Gurley goes down, he's going to be a top 10 running back. With Todd Gurley in, they're probably going to limit his snaps. So Darrell Henderson could be getting 50% of the snaps, and he could be worth of a flex play. But the only downside to Henderson is that if the Rams are losing, and they need to score to win. They're going to put in Todd Gurley to run the ball straight up the middle and into the end zone. They're not going to put Henderson in there. They're going to know that Gurley is a fucking beast and will run in there, even though he's injury prone. So that's why I am kind of worried about Darrell Henderson, but I think he's safer at this pick than any other guys around him. Now, with that being said, if you pick Todd Gurley, who's the guy who picked Todd Gurley? The guy right after me. He picked Todd Gurley in the 2nd round. You need to pick Darrell Henderson because you can't have your 2nd round pick go down and you not have his backup with a guy who you know is injury prone. Now it's different with Saquon. Who is his backup? I don't even know. You want Wayne Gallman? No, you don't want fucking Wayne Gallman on your lineup or on your bench unless he goes down. So that's why Darrell Henderson obviously has some value here. So we're going to go Darrell Henderson because he's not going to fall to us because the guy right after us probably would have picked him. So that's why we're going to select Darrell Henderson here. Now, after we went Darrell Henderson, Eric Ebron went, followed by Baker Mayfield, DJ Moore, Evan Ingram, Tyler Boyd, Hunter Henry, Tariq Cohen, Sammy Watkins, Drew Brees, Rashad Penny, Alshon Jeffrey, Robbie Anderson. Now it's our pick. So we already got our tight end, so we don't have to worry about tight end. We do need a quarterback, and Drew Brees did go, so it's not looking like we want one that's right here. We can just wait till the next round, and hopefully one falls to us because the two guys. This is important to look at. So when you're drafting, you want to see what the people around you have. So since I'm picking here, it's unlikely that these two guys pick a backup quarterback before I can pick mine right in the 9th round. The only person who can take a quarterback is this guy. He doesn't have a quarterback. So it's more likely that we are going to get one of these guys that I want, Wentz, Wilson, or Murray here, or even Jameis. It's likely that one of those guys is going to fall to us. Whereas if none of these guys had quarterbacks, then I feel like you would have to select the quarterback there. So it's important to look at the people's teams around you. See, like this guy, he needs a tight end. So if I didn't have a tight end, I would want to go ahead and select Jared Cook or Vance McDonald because I know that they may not fall back to me in the next round. So that's the thinking behind making these certain picks that some of you guys may not know. I'm probably going to make a video about that, trying to explain it more in depth. Click the subscribe button that's on the bottom right or down below. Click the notification bell to get notified for all the videos so that you know what to do when you're drafting. I'm going to help you guys win your championship. So with that being fucking said, we're going to go receiver here. We're going to go with Dante Pettis, someone everyone's talking up. He's the absolute hype train. You're going to hop on the goddamn hype train. Choo-choo, motherfucker, straight to the championship. Dante Pettis, Jimmy Guap, dot connection right there. We're going to go with Dante Pettis here. Dante Pettis did well last year with Jimmy Guap. 14 and 14. And you want to know, he also did good with Nick fucking Mullins. So we're going to go Dante Pettis here. After we go Dante Pettis, Lat Murray was picked, followed by Jordan Howard, Will Fuller, James White, Kareem Hunt, Jared Cook. So now it's our pick. And we currently have one, two, three, four running backs and three receivers. So we're gonna go one more running back here because I know that the receivers are always good late. The running backs never good late. That's how the drafts work. And my phone just fucking fell off of me. So hopefully you guys did not hear the loud fucking crash from my phone. So it's our pick. And like I said, we're going running back. So we're gonna go with the best running back on the board here. A guy who I believe will end up being the one. Maybe not week one, maybe not week two, but like week three, week four, we're going to see this guy be the running back, the head honcho in Philadelphia, and that is Miles Sanders, a pick out of Penn State. I don't even remember which round he was picked in. It might not have been like the first round. I couldn't tell you. I'm terrible at remembering things like that. But what I do know is that Miles Sanders is fucking good. He was outshined by Saquon Barkley. Not last year, but the year before, because Saquon Barkley was ahead of him, and obviously you're going to start Saquon Barkley. But last year, Miles Sanders, you go watch the highlight tape, looks fucking godlike. Looks like he could be a guy that you would want on your fantasy team and that you would want in the NFL. So that's why we're going to go Miles Sanders here. And if you're doing RB0, this kind of guy, I feel like you can draft him, but you have to know that you're going to probably sit him the first couple of weeks. I would not be confident starting him week one at all, unless we see in preseason that he's the guy on the team. So we're going to just completely avoid starting in the first couple of weeks, see how we do, and we're going to go Miles Sanders. Don't drop him, though. Don't drop Miles Sanders. So after we go Miles Sanders, Ronald Jones was picked, followed by Allen Robinson, Carson Wentz, Christian Kirk, Vance Refrigeration McDonald, Chicago defense, Royce Freeman, LaShawn McCoy, Carlos Hyde, David Njoku, Sterling Shepard, Geronimo Allison. Picks to notice from before. We should have picked a quarterback before because Carson Wentz before that, and I explained on why to pick a quarterback there, but that's okay because we didn't do that. But we are going to be looking towards the fact that the Chicago defense was picked here. Don't be picking defenses that early, like I always say. That is just stupid. So we are going to be picking a quarterback here because we do need a quarterback, and it would be stupid to not pick one here and then him to go missing when it's our pick. So right now we're looking at a guy like Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray. Now, Kyler Murray has pretty much shot up the draft boards. I'm surprised he hasn't been picked already because normally they get picked early. They go fast. 500 on the dash, you know what I'm saying? They're going super fast. But I also like Russell Wilson here slightly more than Kyler Murray because I think he's just going to be safer. They're both some short motherfuckers, Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray. But that being said, they're making millions of dollars and I make $0 making these YouTube videos. But I'm going to go Russell Wilson here. I think he's safer. After we went Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray came off the board, followed by N'Keal Harry, Marvin Jones, Courtland Sutton, Jared Goff, Corey Davis. So now, it is our pick. And there's a lot of receivers, like I said, late that you're going to be liking. They're going to be up to your standard. But also with that being said, some of these guys will be here in the 12th round. So I think we have to go with the running back that I want on my team instead of putting it up to chance of waiting towards the end and hoping that we get a guy like, you know what, fuck it. We'll actually hope, and we're going to go with the receiver that I want here. And we're going to go with a high upside pick here. That pick being Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Now, I'm gonna hope, when you take this pick right now, if it's July, you're going to throw one up to the fantasy gods, and you're going to hope that in Green Bay they start Marquez Valdez-Scantling as the 2. If they don't, he still will be pretty good, but I don't know if you're going to start the 3 on the team every single week. Now, obviously, Green Bay is a great team, so that is possible that you're going to want to do that. But we're going to go Marquez Valdez-Scantling here. The hope that he's being the number 2 wide receiver on the Green Bay Packers, and we're going to hope that Aaron Rodgers likes him just like he did last year, and we're going to see what happens in preseason based upon who you want to draft. Do you want to draft Geronimo? Do you want to draft Marquez Valdez-Scantling? Right now, I'm drafting MVS because you can get him 1 round later, 2 rounds later, 3 rounds later potentially. So we're going to go MVS here. He only went 1 round later in this draft. But after an MVS, Philip Rivers was taken, followed by Peyton Barber, Larry Fitz, DK Metcalf, Cam Newton, Deshaun Jackson, Donta Foreman, Jalen Samuels, Jarek McKinnon, Trey Burton, LA Rams defense. Now it's our pick. We already have our tight end, right? We already have our quarterback. We have we have a solid quarterback, a solid tight end, so you don't need a backup. So we're gonna go running back here, probably. Yes, because he fell to us. So we're gonna go Austin Eckler because if Melvin Gordon ends up getting traded, he ends up holding out. He ends up not getting the starts the first couple weeks or some shit. Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson are going to share the backfield, and you're going to want both of those guys on your team, or not both of those guys on your team, but you're going to want one of those guys on your team because they're going to be scoring some solid points. And Austin Eckler's a pass catching back, obviously, which isn't as good in fantasy or in PPR and standard fantasy, but it's still pretty good. So we're going to go Austin Eckler here. After we went Austin Eckler, D.D. Westbrook comes off the board, followed by Emmanuel Sanders, Damian Harris, Jameis Winston, Jags defense, LA Chargers defense. Don't be picking a defense early. I told you this. I'll tell you it a million times. Don't do it. Now we're going to go receiver because we need one more receiver on our team because we only got 4 of them. So we want one more. And we're going to go with yet another high upside pick in Curtis Samuel and hoping that Cam Newton's shoulder is fixed. Hoping that Carolina returns to greatness like they were at the beginning of last year. And we will hope that Curtis Samuels ends up being the number 3 look on the team and ends up catching some solid passes and playing great this upcoming year. So we're going to go Curtis Samuel here. I like him more than Mecole Hardman, James Washington, Devin Funchess. I don't want anything to do with Golden Tate or James Washington or Devin Funchess. So we're going Curtis Samuel here. After we go Curtis Samuel, Ito Smith was selected, followed by Dak Prescott, Big Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, James Washington, Delaney Walker. And now it's going to be kicker and defense central. I'm going to only name actual players being picked here. Okay, so it's our pick. I'm going to go kicker first, unless our defense is here that we want to be targeting. The Cowboys are here. So we're targeting, the way you pick a defense is you go on Google, you type in NFL schedule week 1, and then you look to see which team has an easy schedule week 1. Or not an easy schedule week 1, obviously, but an easy opponent to play week 1. A defense playing a shitty offense, and the Cowboys are playing a shitty offense week 1, week 2, and week 3. So you want to target the Cowboys or a different team if the Cowboys aren't here. So after we went the Cowboys, Harrison Butker went, followed by Will Lutz, Jake Elliott, Denver Broncos, Devin Funchess, Mecole Hardman. So now it's our pick, and we need our kicker. So the way you're going to pick a kicker is by Googling someone who actually understands kickers and going with their kicker rankings. But with that being said, it doesn't matter, so we're just going to go with the guy that I think is the best, either Gostowski or Fairbairn, so we'll just go Fairbairn here. After Fairbairn was picked, Golden Tate went, followed by kicker, central, station, and then Alexander Madison, the handcuff to Dalvin Cook. So our final lineup is Russ Wilson. Our 2 running backs are Alvin Kamara, Marlon Mack. Our 2 receivers, Adam Thielen, Chris Godwin. Tight end, Kelsey. Flex, Carson. And then a kicker and defense. And then our bench is Darrell Henderson, Dante Pettis, Miles Sanders, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and Austin Eckler. So thank you guys all for watching the video. Click the subscribe button that's on the screen right now. It's going to be Johnny Manziel throwing up the sign. You know, you click on that shit. Click subscribe. Go down below. Click the notification bell to get notified of every video. Click the like. Leave a comment. And click on one of the 4 videos that are on your screen right now. There's going to be 4 videos. Actually, there's only 3 videos, I think. And then the picture of Johnny Manziel. Make sure you click all of them. Just watch another video. Have a great goddamn day. Hope you guys have a great weekend this weekend. Today's Friday. Have a great weekend. I love you guys. Goodbye, guys.